Welcome to the Courage to Live podcast. My name is Josh Bitsko, and I'm a retired police captain with 24 years of experience out of Las Vegas. Currently, I travel the country and I teach people about courage, resilience, and leadership. Today, I'm going to reflect a little bit on the anniversary of the 1 October shooting. This year marked 8 years since the tragic night where 22,000 lives were changed forever and countless first responders and honestly, an entire community was impacted and still is. Generally, on this day, on the anniversary, it's really heavy. And anniversary dates of any kind of traumatic incident can be difficult. I can tell you the anniversary that my father passed away, the date that my brother passed away, like their birthdays, they always kind of hit me hard. And 1 October is no different. It's kind of hard to get away from something when they name the shooting after the date. You turn on the TV in the morning and all the news coverage is about the event. Well, I was pretty busy this year on it. I was teaching in Arizona and I was teaching to the FBI National Academy Alumni Association. And this was a very interesting class because there were two survivors from the concert that were in the class. One was a SWAT officer out of Mesa, and his wife, who's also in law enforcement, was there. And like I could tell when I started giving the presentation that it was affecting them. And I start every presentation with like a content warning. I'm going to show some videos. I'm going to talk about this event, among others, that can all be kind of hard to watch. And I give people an opportunity to, know what to expect and even stand up and step out if they need. But as I was going through it, I just kept noticing these two in the audience, and I could just see that they were emotional and impacted. So on the first break, they came up and talked to me and quickly told me their story. So as I mentioned, he was a SWAT officer in Mesa and she was in law enforcement. They were at the concert when the shooting started. And he ended up they were there in a group. So when the shooting started, he ended up taking a bullet fragment to the face and was bleeding. So his wife took her shirt and was using it to apply pressure and stop the bleeding. Ended up getting his wife and the other people in the group to safety. And then he and a couple other Mesa police officers went back in and were helping getting people out. And I always find it interesting because this was such a large scale event with so many people affected that it can be 8 years later and I could still hear stories that I had never heard before that day. And when they're telling me their story, I found myself getting emotional. She hugged me and thanked me for my part in it. And they found their seats and I continued the presentation. So finished the presentation, I end up calling Jenna and telling her about that encounter. And, even though I didn't get overly emotional in talking to them, I was a little emotional when I was recounting it to her. I was almost overcome with emotion and she could hear it in my voice. Anniversary dates, like I mentioned, are always difficult. They always bring up a lot of emotions. And this was such a terrible incident. So many people were impacted. So many families lost loved ones. People have to deal now with the anxiety as a result of what happened that night. But I do always like to say that I'm very proud of Las Vegas as a community and how everybody came together during and after. And there were lines around blocks to donate blood to help all the people that needed medical attention and were in local hospitals, doctors and nurses working around the clock, people helping victims, putting together gift bags and not gift bags, but like toiletries and for people that were stranded here while their loved ones were in the hospital. There were the amount of donations to the first responder community of food and water and Gatorade. It was so much that some of it had to be donated because we couldn't use it all to local homeless shelters. And so there's always a bright spot in these events. And I'll tell you that as terrible as it was, it also made me very proud to have been born and raised in Las Vegas. So for everybody listening today that was deeply impacted by this incident, you didn't have to be in the concert to feel the pain of so many people. Know that as time goes on, it doesn't hurt any less, but it does hurt less often. And there are many ways that you can get help, talk to a loved one, reach out to somebody that cares. And there's no shame in talking through something that's bothering you, even years later. It was very important for me to release my book on the anniversary of the shooting. And a big reason for that is I wanted to kind of take control of the power that the anniversary had over me. Because for years I was just miserable and would try and shove everything down. I would drink. I wouldn't seek help um, on the day. And now I got to do my book signing in the Mandalay Bay in Flankers a bar and grill. They had a room. It was amazing. There were tables set up for the book that I could, sell and sign, which is actually really weird for me to sign a book. Pictures of the book up on the screens. I did make sure that we had the Dodgers game on as well for the playoffs. And it really kind of reframed that date in my head. Is the pain will always still be there. The heaviness of the day will always be there, but I'm also working on making better memories as well. So knowing that anniversaries carry this, weight and heaviness. If you have a loved one that experienced something on a day, it could be the loss of a parent, the loss of a sibling. One thing I would always do is in my calendar on my phone, set reminders so I remember to call or text somebody just to let them know I'm thinking about them. And I got several texts yesterday, and honestly, it meant a lot to me. I want to thank you guys for listening. If you like the podcast, please share it with a friend, leave a review, or subscribe. And I really appreciate you spending time with me today.